All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another week of Supremacy. Whew, sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Give me 1 sec, and we will get this on the road. There we go. All right, 1 sec. All right, guys, welcome back. It is week 7 of season 5 of Warships Supremacy League here. It is November 2017. It's almost the holidays here stateside, and it is playoff time. Here in a few minutes, we're going to be bringing you the quarterfinal match here, featuring Impact and SF's Kraken Jacker group. Let me, I'm apologize, I'm running a smidge late here trying to get things up and running. Got to get my game client going. Got to get in and find my game. Whew, it's been a busy weekend. I don't know about you guys, I have had a busy Saturday. I am on my own this evening. Nobody's joint casting with me here, but that's all right. We have plenty to keep us busy, plenty to talk about. Let's have a quick look at the final standings of the season. Actually, hold on before we do that. Oops, hold on. There we go. Sorry, need some bad music here. There we go. All right. Shoo-wee! So, here we go. It is going to be quarterfinal time. So we have taken the top 8 teams out of the gold division and plugged them into a bracket. Let's have a quick look at the bracket. There we are. All right, so you can see tonight we're going to be casting Game 4 down there at the bottom. SF and KJ. SF's KJ group and Impact. And then we've got ZR playing MIA in the same bracket. Above that, APOC versus PSV. And the top seed out of gold was OPG's Club Seals group, went 12-0 on the season. They will be taking on MIA's Censura group there in the first round. So we get the privilege of looking at Impact and SF's Kraken Jackers group. Now, we've seen both of these teams a couple of times over the course of the season. The last time we saw Impact was back in week 3 here on my stream. We saw them get their first win of the season. At the time, they were 0-4. Well, they have been on a run since then. They have gone 8-0 since that time, moving them up into 8-4 as the number 2, one of the tied for second in the Atlantic Division. So they very handily made the playoffs. Glad to see them having success here in their first season, and looking forward to this. Now, of course, Kraken Jackers finishing the season at a very solid 9-3. They are the defending gold division champions. So this is going to be. I'm stoked for this match. I want to see. Basically, we've got the newcomers that have been hitting their stride here at the end of the season. They are on fire, and let's see. Give me 1 sec. And versus the old team, the old guys, the old hands that have been doing this a while, and the defending champions. Somebody's moving on, and somebody is going home unhappy. But we'll see how this goes. Room sounds like it's up. Let me get my crap together here. Of course, the fun part is that we don't even know who we're going to be casting for the second game. It's going to be a second match of the night. It's going to be completely dependent upon whoever wins this match. So, let's see. All right, so room's up. We're just waiting on Impact to show up here. Let's have a quick look at, we're starting on Fault Line here, moving to Land of Fire at a minimum, and possibly, if we get really lucky, we're able to show you guys a complete 3-game set. We'll move it on to Warriors Path in about an hour or so. So, as a caster, I certainly hope we get that far. It's more entertaining. The more games I get to cast, the more entertaining it is for you guys. But I tell you what, there's 4 games going on. 4 matches in gold. I can almost promise you at least one of them will go to a 3rd game. So worst case scenario, I will find a 3rd game for us to cast. Believe me, this will not be a problem. And then we'll take a look at the bracket and probably have a bit of a break in between and figure out who exactly it is we're going to show you guys in the semifinals. This, of course, is the quarterfinals. Starting on Fault Line, Impact spawning south and KJ spawning north. We're going to be with Impact for this whole match. I'm excited to see this game, man. I love these guys. They're fun to talk to. They're good people, and I'm really curious to see who wins this match. Kraken Jackers is actually, I think they're the 2-time. I think they're back-to-back gold champions. So we'll see if Impact can, I don't know, dethrone them. Let's say. Now, I want to see, give me a second here. I got to go back and look at games. I want to see how these 2 teams fared against each other in the regular season. Give me 1 sec. Did they play each other? They did not. So this will be the first time these 2 teams have even met, because Impact, of course, coming out of the Atlantic Division, did not necessarily play all the teams in the Gold Division. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. These 2 teams have never played each other. Oh, even more exciting. We have no idea what to base this on. This is going to be awesome. All right, we're dropping now. Once we get into the game here, I'll do a quick recap, have a quick look at teams, and get this show on the road. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I'm having a great weekend. It's been busy, as I said, but good weekend so far. Last weekend was awesome. We'll get the chance to talk between games about the player gathering. Went down to USX Lexington with Lord Zath. Met a lot of great wargaming folks. Oh, crap. Well, I hope this works. This will be interesting to see. I got to try and ram this bot. So it's a tournament mode map, which means I'm spawned off to the side with the other Eerie. Now, normally, if it's a human being, we just drive at each other and kill each other. But this is a bot. So I don't know. I can only hope this works. We're a click away. Looks like it might work. He's not moving yet. Yes, he's okay. Yep. All right. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm so excited. Playoff time. Playoff Supremacy League. Here we go. All right, so both teams, let's have a quick look. North Carolina Double Amagi has kind of become the standard in gold this season, so there we go. We've gone Martel Chapai of Kutuzov here on the Impact side of the house, and to go with Double Benson. Kraken Jackers have gone with Triple Destroyer, Benson, Harikaze, capped by a Chapayev and a Kutuzov. So the big difference is Impact has swapped that Harikaze that Merrill's is driving for Chuck Wiggles' Charles Martel. One of the SF Bensons pushing aggressively into B early, spotted, took a bit of a hit there. Don't have eyes on him, but he's got some fighter cover. Looks as if Admiral Kip looks like he's maybe trying to move some fighters in. Yep, they've got him spotted again. As it looks as if Impact is splitting up, going for an AC split here in the early going with their double destroyer arrangement. Of course, SF's triple destroyers allow them to push all 3 caps simultaneously. This is something that we see them do This is what they do, right? This is pretty much how they play. They run triple destroyer. They send one to every cap and pretty much dare you to do something about it. Kutuzov, Chapayev. Chapayev radar now active here early on in the game, trying to get some shots on this Benson. Benson snuggling up to the island. Yep. Benson snuggling up into cover, and he is good as Slap deploys his smoke here on the backside of this island. Other SF Benson now spotted on the northern end of C. We know the Hirakazi's up north of A. But this Benson at C, Publord here, the I Benson C at C is kind of lonely. He's only really got an Amagi backing him up, and that Amagi is a ways off. And Umadi's got some bombers over here backing up his friendly Benson. With no shots on JMac there in the center, it looks like SF will cap B pretty handily. He lost about 60% of his health to earn that cap, though, so hopefully it was worth it. Publord now moving into the bottom end of C for impact. C now being contested as SF does snag B. North Carolina, Amagi, Martell, and Benson moving in on A here as Tiduson has worked his way into the southwestern corner of the A cap. The Hirakazi contesting by dipping his toes in on the extreme northeastern edge of the cap, using that island as some cover. So A going nowhere for either team right now, and no radar over there for impact to do anything about it. Tiduson deciding that he wants none of that. He's bailing out, and the Hirakazi has also bailed out. A little bit of jockeying early. Publord anchoring the bottom end of the C cap as Rhino's kind of forced to run here with these Torp bombers trying to hunt him down on the northern edge, northeastern corner of the C cap. Impact's cruisers have kind of taken up station here behind this island where Slap put out his smoke. Smoke looks like it's expiring now. They've got some shots there on TCN's Kutuzov on the kind of up there in D7 or so. Rhino and Publord going at it here at C. Publord's got his bow pointed south. Rhino smoking up now, contesting the cap. Publord already blew his torps. We saw those real briefly earlier. And that looks like he's going to smoke and keep C contested. Have a check on A. Looks like Merrills has once again dipped his stern at the back end of the cap there in the northeastern corner. He is currently capping. Impact looks like they may be trying to get some ships into position to stop or slow that down. Chuck Wiggles and his Charles Martel there. Looks like he's focusing on that little niche corner of the island right there. I've driven my destroyer in there a number of times. You can fit in there pretty handily and not really get targeted. It's kind of nice. SF now picking up A, moving out to an early 80-point lead here. About 5 minutes into the game. JCF threading the needle on this torpedo salvo here. Oh, but here comes the Hirakazi. Yep, torpedo reload Hirakazi strikes, putting at least 2 there into JCF. A couple of decent hits early there. Tiduson now moving back into the southwest corner of A, contesting it, as Merrills looks like... Yep, he's turning his engines on. He's got some good cover. Takes a little bit of damage, but he'll be ducking out of that cap and on his way shortly. What's happening at C? Publord threading some torps there. Still contesting C. Both teams contesting C, but going nowhere. Cruisers have moved up to cover B a bit. Most of the exciting early action still appears to be at A here, as Impact has pushed 4 ships into the cap circle. Bit of a carrier strike coming in, trying to get these torpedoes in, but JCF's AA guns them down. Impact looks like they will pick up A here momentarily. They're about 130 points down, but it's still early. Nobody's really taking a lot of damage. JCF probably hit the hardest. And he's still above half health, so not too shabby. Chuck Wiggles' Charles Martel looks like he's taking a bit of a hit there. He's going to pull back some as the two battleships work the A-cap here for impact. C continues to be a staring contest between Pub Lord and Rhino Mark II. They both know the other one's there. Can't do much about it. Not able to, anyway. It looks like Admiral Kip's fighters now going to push north and try and spot Rhino, but with only 2 fighters, I'm sure Rhino will immediately pop some DF and try and knock them down. Impact now down about 140 points here in the early going. Each team with a cap. Yep, there's Rhino getting picked up on the northern end of the C cap and smoking up immediately. C remains contested. Dog going to dodge these. Looks like he's going to eat one on the bow. He does indeed, but most of the salvo skips by him. Will we see the second? Where's that Harakaze torpedo reload? Not present at the moment. Impact seems to have consolidated. J-Dog must be spotted in the smoke. Must have fired his gun somewhere along the line, or he could be radared. Yep, the Chapayev is over there in D4, probably radared in the smoke. Getting beat up here a little bit on less than 9,000 HP in the smoke. Certainly holding his fire. Now burning. Could this be our first casualty of the game? Needs a repair. Seems to have thrown in the towel now, firing out of the smoke. Needing a repair or heal. Doesn't look like he's going to get it. Nope. First kill of the game going to Achilles' Amagi on behalf of SF. Impact, in the meantime, has pushed rather aggressively. Some guys onto the bottom end of the C cap now, determined to kick Rhino out of here and pick up that cap. Seems to be working. Rhino lost looks like he's lost almost 3/4 of his health there as he pulls back to the north. Kind of ceding the center of the map here to SF. Impact's forces divided now. 3 ships over here on the 2-3 line. 4 ships now pushing up the 9 line through the C cap. On the back of the loss of J-Dog, they are about 240 points down now, but that gap will start to close slowly as they now hold the cap advantage here on fault line. JCF retreating now, reversing. Was he reversing? I think he was reversing. Yeah, he's trying to reverse and get back into the cover of the island there. Keep his guns into B, but keep the torps away from him. That Harakaze's still around somewhere. This force in the 9 line looks like they're going to continue to push pretty aggressively here. Chapayev cutting through the channel towards B, flanked by Pub Lord's Benson down on the G line. Amagi pushing, Cruiser Atago's Amagi pushing north along with Slap, continue to move aggressively north. They've got a little bit of eyes on Rhino. They know he's over there. Right now, he's kind of wedged in between this Chapayev. If Rhino turns east, he's going to run right into the Kutuzov. If he continues heading south, he'll run to the Chapayev and his radar. So that might be a bad spot for him. Let's see how that plays out. Titusson must be spotted here now over in the A-cap, taking fire from a Harakaze and a Chapayev. Defensively smoking, on fire, 2,600 HP and falling. Looks like he'll probably survive. That one fire should not kill him. Kutuzov taking a decent hit there. Slap getting slapped around a bit. Pardon the pun. That was terrible. Smoking up there on the northern end of the C cap, but losing sight on Rhino's Benson. Pub Lord is taking the long way around here. Look where he is. He's way down on the G line. It looks like maybe he's trying to work into B, but he's taking his time to get there. I think they suspect that JMac is still in there. It looks like he was last spotted there in about E5. So they know he's around, probably in that smoke cloud. No other reason for that smoke cloud to be there. Titusson hanging onto a thread there at about 1,500 HP. Chuck wiggles his Martel. Stern on, yep, pulling away. SF pushing now a little bit here on the A cap, knowing that they've got a bit of advantage there with two moderately healthy battleships against JCF's beat up North Carolina, this Martel, and a very, very low health Benson. JMech now bailing out of the B cap to the northwest. Publord not challenging the B cap just yet. Looks like he's continuing to work around the southern edge of this island. Gap now about 130 points. Impact holding their own. Just letting that points gap slowly close. How are we doing over here at sea? Slap dodges the torps in smoke as Cruiser Otago's Amagi pushes through the smoke. Oh, they have shots there briefly on Anumati. Up on the A line, moving west. Ooh, Titusson finally does go down in the A cap over here. Solid shot from Achilles' Benson. Sorry, Achilles' Amagi. Well, the SF push on A is on, and there's probably not much that can stop it at this stage of the game, which means Impact's going to need to push B pretty hardcore or bag a quick kill. They're 200 points down now. They still hold the cap advantage, but they've got at least two ships that are kind of rough on health. Dark Wiggles is Charles Martel here now at about 20% of his HP. JCF's North Carolina here getting focus fired from several different directions here as he attempts to push into the B cap. He's repairing. Not sure it's going to be enough. Publord now pushing into the B cap as well. Looks like we might trade caps here. The question is, can Impact bag a kill to narrow the points gap? Chupayev emerging from the channel as Slap and a Cruiser Otago can finally push all the way around the C cap here, moving from the 9 line in onto the 8 line, pushing Dark Claw's Amagi from his port side. JCF looking pretty rough here on 4,000 HP and falling. Second torpedo salvo. That's going to bag him. Smoke's going up, but it's going to matter for naught. Ooh, quick double kill there for SF. Gives them a cap and a ship lead now. They have a 3-ship lead and a 2-cap lead as Slaps Kutuzov also buys it back here on the 9 line. Now they are not out of it yet. There are a couple of SF ships on very low health, and the remaining Impact ships beyond the Martel are in decent shape. They need to kill, and they need to kill very quickly. They're about 400 points down here now, and the gap is widening in FSF's favor. This Kutuzov now on 1,000 HP. TCN now probably looking at his last salvo here as IA Dave's Chupayev comes around the corner to polish him off. Some badly needed points there for Impact. Dark Claw eats at least one torp here as he pushes into the B cap. Publord takes one in the stern in his smoke. Dark Claw was he flooding? I'm not sure. Boy, they need to get him down. Chupayev and Benson now focusing Dark Claw basically for the fate of the B cap. If they can kill him, they've got a good shot of moving into that B cap. Publord not yet spotted. Or is he? Yes, he is. He's spotted. He must be proxy spotted in the smoke with, probably has, spotter module. Not the stealth module on the Amagi. 2,300 HP and falling. He's on fire. Several ships focusing him down. I think Publord is out. Yep. Tough trade there for Impact. They do get the battleship, but lose their last remaining destroyer. And there comes the GG. They know this is all but over. 450-point lead and continuing to open for SF here on fault line with about 4 minutes to play. It's just not going to happen for Impact here. They bagged the Charles Martel, who was already on about 500 HP, and that is the game. Game 1 of this quarterfinal match going to SF here on fault line. Well played to both teams. That stalemate at sea. Look at all the plane kills that Rhino racked up over there. Too much fun. All right. Well, let's leave it there for a sec. Get our graphics updated. And there we go. All right. Impact now down 1-0 to the Kraken Jackers as we move on to Land of Fire. So, let me back out. Go have a quick look for training room. Make sure we are not hosing something up. Certainly not holding them up. All right. Pardon me a moment. I'll be right back. I've got the music on, and I have it muted. Wow, look at that. Continuing levels of OBS fail from Raptor. Yes, indeed. Yet another week of OBS fail. But there's some music for you. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. Okay, it was even faster than that. So while we wait here, let's talk about last weekend. So last weekend, Friday night, Lord Zath flew down from his home up in Chicago and met me here in Houston. We hung out together that evening, got up next morning, took my wife, drove down to Corpus Christi, about a 3-hour drive. Had some nice weather, a little warm, probably mid-80s. But you get down to Corpus, you're right on the bay, and you get a nice onshore breeze. It was pretty pleasant there. It was a little hot on the deck of the carrier. I got to admit, it just wasn't a lot of airflow. Just the way they had the openings configured for whatever reason. But we got down there about 3-4 o'clock, checked in, and headed over to Lexington about 6, which was the technical start of the event. Took us a little while to get through the line, get badges and everything, and got on board. You're in the hangar deck, so you're on the main open hangar deck that runs almost the complete length of the ship. This was my second trip to Lexington. I'd been down there in, I think, January of 2009 with my Boy Scout troop. Went down there. Lexington, like a number of other historical museum ships, they do like camp overnight, camp on boards programs for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, various youth organizations, and they let you come and spend the night, and they give the kids tours of the ship and all this kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun. So I hadn't been there in about 8 years. Still a great museum. They continue to do nice restoration and improvement work. So we went down there, and Wargaming had it set up really nice. You get all your swag for going to the Lex Battle event. You get the messenger bag and there was a shirt with your name on the back and all this sort of stuff. They had a stage set up, lots of gaming stations. The way they had the gaming station set up, you basically had a row of about a dozen PCs. One row was for tanks, one row was for ships, one row was for planes. Of course, Planes 2.0 being relatively new. And then I had a row of consoles for Tanks Blitz, which I think is the Xbox World of Tanks. Lots of food, really good food too, man. They had some good barbecue. Lots of appetizers, open bar, which was nice. They had about 4 or 5 different kinds of beer, wine, and soda and water and everything. So, this is all for $20, right? You're chipping in $20, and you get down there, and it's covered in people, and you get to talk to the various employees. I got to meet Nico Power, which was fantastic. I met him. I met Sub Octavian. Phil, I got to tell you, hang on a sec. I think the game might be up. Give me 1 sec. Nope, not yet. Okay, no worries. Meeting Sub Octavian was fantastic. That was probably my highlight. Phil is, in my opinion, one of the greatest gems that Wargaming has as a company. His ability and willingness to come into the North American forums, Reddit in particular, and engage with the player base, explain mechanics that aren't explained anywhere else, both as a player and as a wiki editor in particular. I love that, because that gives us the tools to go capture that information on the wiki, leave it there for everybody to find, and if nothing else, it gives you the ability to understand the game, right? There's so many things about the game, the mechanics, the little nuances that just aren't obvious. They aren't explained, or they're not even present in the UI. I'll give you an example. About 3 weeks ago, between a Reddit post and some of the knowledge I already knew, I was finally able to kind of wrap my brain around how the formula for flood chance of a torpedo strike, an enemy torpedo strike, against, let's say, the torpedo bulge of your battleship, was actually calculated, how that worked, right? And it starts with a value in the game's UI that's in the files but is hidden. You don't ever see it, but every torpedo in the game has a flood chance percentage. So you take that value, you plug it into this formula based on the torpedo defense system on the ship you're looking at, you run some numbers, there's various modifiers to that depending on flags and whatnot, and then bam, you come up with a chance what the chance of that torpedo has to cause a flood when it strikes the ship. And of course, sometimes that depends on where it strikes on the ship. But so those kinds of mechanics are just not always obvious. And I love Phil. So meeting Phil was a particular highlight. I got to meet Boyarsky for the first time, and this is a guy whose name I've seen on the forums, but I didn't really know. He was really interesting. He moved to the States and went to the university. I think you told me he's University of Michigan. Ann Arbor, might be Michigan State. I don't know Michigan, so forgive me if I'm screwing this up. He went to college in Michigan for an MBA, and then of course ended up working for Wargaming out in San Francisco. And now, of course, he speaks Russian, so it's very easy for him to communicate with the St. Pete office. So, of course, native Russian. So, really nice people. Fantastic guy to meet. All right, room's up. Give me one sec. Yep, there it is. So anyways, got to meet these guys. And the neat thing was, like, when you interacted with some of the employees, some of them had little cardboard cards, right? Like pictures of Alabama or Tirpitz or Otago or whatever. And, you would talk with them and you engage with them. Let's go, hey, you want a ship? And literally they would pull this stack of cards out of their pocket. They'd go through till they found a ship that you wanted. They'd give you the thing, and on the back of it is a code for the ship. So you go online. Just randomly, right? This is on top of the fact that when you show up to the event, you get a cardboard, a map of the event, basically, a little packet with all this information. And one of the things on there is all these different codes for all the different games. There's a code for Blitz that gives you a tank and some premium time, and a code for tanks and planes and ships that all give you premium time or doubloons and a free premium vessel or plane or whatever. I mean, they're just giving stuff away. Tons and tons of fun. And just really neat to engage with these guys and realize just the passion they have for what they do and how they do it, and their desire to interact with the player base. And really, you don't find a lot of gaming companies that want that level of interaction with their play base. Give me one sec. Sorry, making sure everybody's aware that when I spawn in, this particular map does not have a tournament configuration. So when I spawn in, I spawn with the team, same with their bot. So everybody has to shoot us and kill us before anybody can move. That's the way the streaming rules are written. So it'll probably take about 30 seconds for that to happen, and they're about to drop. So we'll be on our way momentarily. But anyway, yeah, you meet these guys, you talk with them, and you realize how much they love what they do, how much they love the player base. And interacting with them, getting to know them, watching Nico and Zath meet, and for the first time was hilarious. Those two have connected over the forums and Facebook and whatever else, and chatted and kind of gotten to know each other. And Zath was just super excited. He was like, "Oh, it's Nico!" And it was so much fun. So, all right, we'll be dropping shortly. Anyway, but yeah, it was a blast. There's quite a number of other community contributors there. Got to meet Femininity, whose name I'm probably butchering. She was a lot of fun. Got to meet Kaloran over at the Warships podcast, a great guy. Got to meet Notzer, who is local to Houston here. He drove down for the event. iChase came in from his home in Canada, I believe Toronto, and got to meet him. I'm trying to think who else. Zoop was there. No Zoop for you. Fantastic guy from his home in Northern Virginia, and that was awesome because I lived up there for a few years, so we got to chat about that a little bit. I had hoped to have him on board tonight as a co-caster, but his schedule didn't work out for that, so we'll have to try that again at some point in the future. All right, here we go. We'll be dropping into Land of Fire. Game is loading. Team configurations have not changed, so we'll be seeing the exact same ship team lineups that we just saw as we move in here. Okay, looks like we've had a bit of a technical snafu. The version of the map we dropped into only has 2 caps on it. This is not correct. Folks who have watched me regularly remember we actually had this problem back in one of the... it might have been week 1 I think one of the Silver Division games I cast in week 1 or week 5 had this issue where somehow we ended up picking the wrong version of the map and dropped into a version of the map that only had 2 caps. It was very strange. Anyways, I could go on and on about Lexington. The bottom line is this. If you get the opportunity next year when they announce the locations, the dates, the times for any of the Let's Battle Tour events and you have the opportunity to go, all I can say is I highly encourage you to go. Not only just for the opportunity to meet with, interact with the Wargaming employees, their community people that are just fantastic. But I mean, they literally, I'm not kidding here, guys. They just drown you in loot. Like you go in there, there's shirts, bags, pins. I got all these achievement pins. I might try and give some of these away over the course of the winter. I'm going to hopefully try and start doing some streaming. I talked to Nico a little bit about that, doing some more streaming off my press account, doing some things with the ships that have gone to testing, that sort of thing. So, pins, ships. My wife, who does play, actually, she does have an account, walked away with I don't even know. She walked with 3 or 4 premium ships, and we're talking about good premiums, not like, Anshan. All right, let's see, is the map up again? It is. There we go. All right, so we're doing a bit of a reset here. We'll be going shortly. It looks like, yeah, I think they've got the map set right now. So yeah, man, it is worth your time. On the main stage, every hour, they were basically dedicating every hour to one game. So they started with planes to highlight the new 2.0 release. They moved to tanks, and then ships was last. Sub-Octavian got up and did a presentation. That was where he talked about the U.S. cruiser line split, and the big reveal, of course, was the upcoming rebalance of the rejiggering of the USN carrier modules such that they will have more balanced loadouts. I'm personally looking forward to that. I am a potato carrier, but the concept and the play style of carriers fascinates me. I want to get better, and frequently when I play IJN carriers, I sometimes struggle. There's so many pieces to move around the board. So I find the American carriers are kind of better for me. Just because there's fewer pieces to move around the board. But once you get to Ranger and Lexington, they're just garbage because they're so far behind the Japanese carriers in terms of power level and squadrons on the board when you try to play that balanced configuration. They're finally going to try and correct some of that discrepancy, and I'm pretty stoked about it. It's not going to fix carriers. They're not magically going to become balanced. I believe both Wargaming and their player base acknowledge that there's... Oh, man. I'm way off by myself. This sucks. Anyways, Wargaming and the player base acknowledge that there's a lot to do with to get carriers balanced, but the fact that they're doing this as kind of a quality of life thing in the interim while they try to make this happen is really encouraging. All right, they're killing me. I'll be dead shortly, and then we can start showing you the good stuff. All right, here we go. All right, so as we said earlier, same team compositions. Impact continuing to stick with their double destroyer. I personally feel like SF's triple destroyer config last game really helped them out, really enabled them to do some things that Impact could not because their double destroyer comp kind of limited them a bit. Let's see if the trend holds or if Impact is able to flex that extra cruiser to better Impact here on, no pun intended, on Land of Fire. But look at the early deployments here. Looks like we have Benson going C. I can't quite tell what this Benson in the middle is doing. I don't know if he's going to go to B or A. Looks like the Martel is going to just push forward. North Carolina seems to be heading to A. Wanamagi definitely going C. Chapayev definitely going C. Hard to say what that central Amagi is doing. Early air war here as we get some scouting in by both teams. Slap under fire here early. Must have been spotted by some fighters somewhere along the line. Martel now spinning out and going to A. I like this play. His speed will really allow him to work that flank. He's got a little bit of island cover there. If he can, nope, he's turning out completely. All right, so it looks like we're going to stick North Carolina and Martel on the A flank as a kiting defense kind of force. Rhino spotted there early as he pushes into the top end of the A cap. Under a little bit of fire, probably might have taken a few shells, hard to tell. No eyes on him anymore. One of the Bensons up there in D6 being highlighted by impact, turning towards the B cap. As Titusson has swung very wide of C and is now coming into C now from the southeast. Herikazi on the northern end of the cap seems to be declining to move into the cap. These fighters are going to pick up Titusson here momentarily. He pops. No, he didn't pop his defensive fire. He's just got his AA turned on now. Trying to drive those fighters off as he moves into C. Rhino has snuggled up to that island in A. I suspect there's very little that Impact can do about that. So SF will probably draw that first cap here momentarily as Titusson smokes up in the bottom end of the C cap. A couple of random shells, no serious damage there. Packed up by Pepito and J-Dog here, moving east on the GH line. Both teams kind of jockeying for position here early. Have not seen Colonel Sanders as Benson. There, he's just now moving into B here. We see the smoke he's laid behind. Looks like he's finally in the northern end of the B cap. Not sure he's in Chapayev radar range. IA Dave's Chapayev now snuggled up to C, possibly in radar range of B. Yeah, it probably can, if for no other reason than each of those blocks is 4.8 kilometers, so that radar range is going to be at least 2 blocks. And then some, because his radar range being 11.7, he'll go past that. So if you were to pop it right now, it's possible he might pick up Colonel Sanders' Benson. Doesn't seem inclined to do so, though. Looks as if they're once again going to let SF pick up the early cap. Some shells coming in on slap, a little bit of danger here. Ooh, nice. Dodges that salvo. Publord has moved into the A cap to contest Rhino. Now, this is interesting. This is an interesting play. I like this. Impact being a little more aggressive here. Ooh, Wiggles taking a big hit kind of early. He was already down about half health. Took another 7-8K there. Definitely got to pull back. I like this, right? Impact went for the early cap at C. Got it. Gave the early cap at B to, oh man, Slap. Whew, another good-sized hit. He's given up lots of his HP to pull back here. Benson must have him spotted. Yep, no, now he's got Torps crawling up his stern. Ooh, running out of time. He's good. Anyways, but they basically seeded B, capped C, and are contesting A. SF now seeming to focus on these cruisers have got Slap and the Charles Martel down very low, fairly early, down to probably about 20% HP on both. Here comes another battleship salvo on Slap. Whew, falls short. We know that Benson has got to be pushing up aggressively on Slap to keep him spotted for his teammates. Those fighters could probably move up and find him. Looks like that's what Admiral Kit might be trying to do. It's hard to say. Professional Noobs North Carolina has moved into a nice spot there, covering A with his guns, kind of protecting B from the backside there. Impact with a very, very small lead. We're talking about 5-6 points here as we get about 6 minutes into the match. Too early to really give one advantage to one team or the other, although Impact has coughed up a lot more HP than SF has. Those cruisers have gotten beaten up pretty early. Professional Noob takes 1 torp, takes 2 torps, 3 torps there. Can't spot him, but we could see the torps land. He's got Chapayev right behind him even. Looks like they're going to move their Chapayev in there to try to push Publord out of the bottom end of A. Noob losing a little more than half his HP there. Obviously pops his heel and is repairing. Shells out on this Benson, on Publord's Benson. Must be spotted somehow. Looks like he's right at the very is right at the very edge of Chapayev radar. He was. He should be out of radar range now. Quickly puts that fire out. But by driving him off, they allow Rhino to finish the cap of A. Now, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Titusson come back and try to work the B cap. Dave, in his position at Chapayev, has really got C locked up. Like, the Harikaze cannot get in there and cap. Like, that is not a thing. He'll just get crushed. In fact, look at where Merrill's is, right? Merrill's is kind of playing hide and seek with a Chapayev. So I'm questioning why Titusson is so far over here when he could probably be rotating to B, especially since he's got this Kutuzov and Amagi. Well, J-Dog's running the other way, but Slap's moving up. Slap looks like he's moving up to try and get flanking fire. Yep, on Professional Noob. And know the other Chapayev is back there. They know Pieces of Pizza's over there. They can't spot him right now. SF with a cap lead now, slowly opening up a lead. Neither team has suffered a casualty yet as we move about 8 minutes into the match. Admiral Kip calling for focus on the square there with the Chapayev of North Carolina are now smoked up right there in E4. Slap being very aggressive here early on, with his health level. He's only at about 10,000 HP. Admittedly, the North Carolina can't really hit him from that position. Actually, none of the battleships can really hit him from that position, so maybe his aggression is not such a bad idea after all. I'm just still really surprised. Sorry about that. Erroneous camera. Really surprised to see Titusson hanging this close to the C cap when B is, I won't say it's wide open, but it's certainly got enough support that he could try for it. Well, they've obviously got some kind of plan here. Well, a little bit of a stalemate now. Both teams seem to be kind of just jockeying for some kind of position. It's really hard to say. Titusson smoking up II Dave now. His Chapayev pushing forward. I'm not quite sure why they smoked him. He wasn't really under threat from anybody. Maybe the Amagi. Yeah, that Amagi over there in D10 probably would have had shots on him. Slap leaving his smoke, pulling back now. Colonel Sanders working the extreme northern end of the B cap, making sure that nobody tries to sneak in there. SF's lead now opening up to about 100 points on the strength of their cap advantage. Again, no kills on either team just yet. Slap is low. Chuck Wiggles is low for impact. Rhino's a little low on the SF side. That's really about it. Both the SF cruisers are in pretty good shape. All right, it looks as if maybe Chuck Wiggles and Publord and JCF have kind of gotten oriented now for a bit of a B push. Professional Noobs North Carolina has kind of backed out around this island. He's briefly visible. Turns his engine on, ducking back into cover. Trying for Slap here. Long range shot. And they miss. SF's team there in kind of E4 is actually in a pretty good position to resist this potential push from Impact. Impact now pushing both Amagis hard up the 8 line. Where are their guns pointed? Dogmaster's guns into the center. Pepito's guns are over here on the Amagi and on the 10 line. It's a bit of a split there, but they're at least covering both directions. As Dave's Chapayev also moves out of the smoke and into the C cap. Impact's got to do something here. They're just slowly falling behind over time. Got about 8 minutes to play. They're 150 points down, and again, both teams still at full complements of 9 ships apiece. This push on the 8 line is kind of the most interesting thing going on right now. J-Dog and Dave obviously caught wind of somebody. Now, if you look on the mini-map, you can see Anumati Shikaku was last spotted in B7. If they could get eyes on him, they might be able to get him off the board. That would be a huge gain for Impact. It depends on where he is right now. They don't have eyes on him. Kutuzov, TCN's Kutuzov's a little low there. Shells going in. Pepito taking fire on his broadside as he moves through that center gap. Impact now switching their concentrated fire, and there is the first kill of the game. JCF's North Carolina bags TCN's Kutuzov, narrowing the gap to about 120 points. So Impact up a ship, but down a cap here, and continuing to fall behind just because of that cap disadvantage. But they needed that kill to stay in the game. 7 minutes to play here on Fault Line. Impact trying to find a way to take a match and force a Game 3. Kind of rejiggering their forces here at C. Publord has now crept up to the extreme bottom edge of the B cap, spotting Rhino there right in front of him. Doesn't really have any help to shoot at Rhino. Does land a few shells, but they know where he is now. Of course, firing his guns opened him up to return fire from Colonel Sanders, who is still in the B cap, playing defense. Publord now smoking JCF's North Carolina as he moves up. This aggressive push up the 8 line working out decently so far for Impact. They've kind of just isolated Achilles' Amagi, just left him over there. Kutuzov is kind of continuing to shell him here, but they seem to be reorienting now for a push against B, as Dave and Dogmaster pushing through the gap here between B and C, driving hard as Tidison swings around the north end to try and work that flank, shield them from the Harikaze, and Pepito cutting back in, putting shells on the 2 SF battleships that have moved in from the A cap. So we're going to have a rumble here for B to decide the game, basically. Looks like how this is going to shape up here momentarily. Impact got to get into that cap. They cannot. They got to get in there and then bag a kill. I mean, they're 5 minutes to play. They're down about 180 points and continuing to trail as the points cap widens. The only SF ship that's really in danger of dying is Rhino. We have not seen him in a while. He's in that smoke cloud over here in about F and G4. You can see shells coming out of it on JCF's North Carolina. It looks like Publord is maybe trying to get up there and proxy spot him. It's hard to say. JCF now dodging this torpedo salvo. As SF crosses the 900 point marker, getting close to the end here for Impact. They got to be aggressive. They're pushing 3 ships into the B cap now. They really, if I were them, they really need to get up here and push Rhino. They know he's there. They've got to kill him. They need those points desperately. Yep, Rhino on 2,000 HP now, proxy spotted in smoke. Publord coming around the corner, and the Martel bags him. SF now down 2 ships, still up a cap. The score's narrowed to about 140 points as Impact finally gets Dogmaster into B. They will probably focus fire on him. It will probably not cap B, but at least they're denying the points to SF for the moment. JCF and the Martel got tangled up here a little bit. Dogmaster neatly dodges that torpedo salvo. That was well done. They basically just left Achilles alone. They're like, you know what, if you're going to go hang out on the 10 line, stay there. The fight is here in B, and in the fight it is. 80 points from victory. SF trying to end the match and move on to the semifinals. Impact trying to keep their season alive and force a Game 3. Oh, some big torpedo hits there on Professional Lube. Leaves him on about 4,800 hit points. They need to get some shells on him. They need to get him off the board. They know it. Pepito's got shells out. Dogmaster's turning. Noob takes some more damage. 3,500 hit points now. Ooh, he puts a decent hit into Pepito. Pepito only at about 10,000 HP himself. Merrill's is Harikaze now trying to sneak up to C to cap behind the Impact team. JCF does bag the Amagi way in the back there. Professional Noob also on low HP as the gap is close to 40 points. And Impact is probably going to bag B here because no one has shots on Dogmaster. Noob on fire. He'll be out momentarily. There he goes. Impact moves out to their first lead of the match. As Merrill's Harakazi now spotted, moving into C. Kutuzov slapped there, trying to keep some shells on him. Close game here with 2.5 minutes to play on Land of Fire. Another big kill for Impact, taking down Pieces of Pizza. Moves them to within 50 points of victory. Benson and Shokaku, that's Rhino, I believe. Is he? Nope, that's Sanders. Rhino bought it. Oh no, JCF! Turning into this torpedo salvo, he is going to be out. That's some badly needed points for TSF. But it's not quite enough. Publord has now moved into the bottom of the day, contesting it. Right now, SF is getting no points at all, and Impact is moving ahead on the strength of the B cap. They have about a 4-ship advantage. JCF is the first Impact player to die. So yeah, they've got a pretty good advantage on ships here. How goes Kutuzov versus Harakazi? Harakazi falling short on that one. C well defended on behalf of Impact as they again move to within 50 points of victory, but now have 2 caps and are capping A. SF down to just a Shokaku and a Magi and a Benson. Benson was north of A last we saw him. Achilles is a Magi now. Not really relevant to the battle as long as the Chapayev and the Kutuzov stay away. They are both relatively low on health, but if they just stay at spotted, there's nothing he can do. Publord and Sanders now trading fire here in the A-cap. Publord trying to live. All he has to do is not die, and Impact will win in seconds. Impact now. Yep, next tick, and they will have it. And there it is. Impact pulls the come-from-behind victory here on Land of Fire to force Game 3 in the quarterfinals of Season 5. Pardon me a moment. I gotta get almost. Oh, look at that. I didn't even update the game. Ugh, look at this. I'm failing. Tell you what. We'll get it all done right now. Sorry. Game 3 is. Hold a moment. Warrior's Path. All right. I know what to do now. There we go. One there. One there. One there. All right. Excellent. We're going to Game 3. I love a full series, says the Astros fan. All right. Whoo! Bionic Berry, where's the game sound? Hold on a minute. Side. That's really about it. Both the SF cruisers are in pretty good shape. Okay. Barry, I think what you're talking about the game sound. When I'm zoomed out like this, you don't hear a lot. I have to get way down into the ship to hear torpedo shots or fire and that sort of thing. That's probably why you're not hearing much. Anyhow, whew, exciting match. Love that. That was fun. Impact. Well done, guys. It was interesting to see you guys come back. I was curious to see how that was going to work out. So we're going to Game 3. Yes, Warrior's Path. Excited. What else can we talk about? What else can we talk about this week? I don't know. I talked about Let's Battle. Got about 5 or 10 minutes to kill here. I guess we can talk about some of these new ships that are coming out. What did they put out for test this week? They put out the French DD, the Eagle, or the Aigle, however you say it. Pardon me a moment. Telefono. Be right back. We're back. Let's see what else they put out this week. They put out Premium German Destroyer T-61. They put on these are not released yet. These are just going to super testers for a test. I I think I saw a couple guys doing Roma first look. So Roma must be at a point where she's out there for at least, messing around with. Um, what else have people been? Oh, Abruzzi. Duca degli Abruzzi, which is the new Italian Tier 7 cruisers. She looks at first glance like a larger, like a Duca d'Aosta on steroids, right? She still has the same 152 millimeter guns. She just has 10 of them instead of 8. Okay, I can live with that. She has the same 12 kilometer torpedoes. So she looks like fun. I don't know if you have a Duca. I'm not here to sell ships. I do have one. She's fun. I like mine. I mean, she's not the best ship ever, but for a Tier 6 little light cruiser, she's got some fun things going for her. I've had some interesting games. The fact that she can mount hydro and defensive is really cool. I really like that. Ooh, that's what we can talk about. We can talk about the USN cruiser split. Of course, they spoiled this just before Lexington last week, so I didn't get the chance to talk about it because I wasn't streaming last week. Of course, they're going to split the USN cruiser line. They're going to put Cleveland back at her rightful place at Tier 8. I'm looking forward to that. They're going to drop Pensacola and New Orleans a tier and kind of keep them in a heavy cruiser line. Works for me. And they're going to basically open up the entire light cruiser line for the Americans. So we're going to start with a Tier 6 ship called Dallas, which I'm not entirely positive what that is. Move up to a Tier 7 ship, which I believe is based on Helena. Then, of course, you have Cleveland at Tier 8. Tier 9 is called Seattle. Nobody's really sure what that is. It looks like maybe it's just an improved Cleveland. And then the Tier 10 will be Worcester, which kind of looks like a Super Minotaur. But one of the things that Sub-Octavian said at Lexington when he was giving his little brief on the cruiser line was that the American light cruisers would not have smoke. However, they would be able to mount defensive fire, sonar, and radar all at the same time. So they would all be able to mount these as separate consumables. And then, of course, the Tier 9 and 10 would also get repair party to go along with that because, of course, high-tier cruiser. So from a Supremacy perspective, what's interesting about this is now Baltimore drops to Tier 8 and takes New Orleans' old slot. I assume they're going to have to revert some of her rate of fire buff that she got earlier this year. But moving Cleveland to Tier 8 and giving Cleveland now radar and hydro and DF. No smoke, of course. But now you have a really good Jack of the Swiss Army knife of cruisers, man. Like this boat you've got sonar, you can hunt destroyers with radar. That Tier 8 American radar should be work backwards 9 kilometer radar. So like Edinburgh radar. Some of that value of Cleveland, I think, in Supremacy next season is going to depend a little bit on where they finally settle on her detectability range. Of course, she'll be able to take concealment systems module 1, which will be nice. But where will they land her? Oh, okay, hold on. Room is up. I'm talking. Sorry about that. I got busy gabbing. Okay, we'll be on our way shortly here. So finish up with Cleveland. So it'll kind of be determined her value to her value to Supremacy. I think will depend on where they finally settle her detection. Assuming that I don't know. It'll depend, right? If she's like Edinburgh and she has detection equal to or less than her radar range, she's going to be, in my opinion, she's going to be a really solid boat. You're going to start seeing American cruisers in Supremacy play. And the interesting thing about that is now the way the Supremacy rules are currently written, you're limited on the number of American ships that you can bring. Of course, national limits. Typically, Benson and North Carolina have been very popular, but now what? Right now, if you shove an American cruiser into the mix that's really good that people want to bring, ouch, now we really start having to make tough choices on team compositions, which I like, right? Teams should be forced to make difficult choices when it comes to their team comps. We've seen the Martel break in this season. We've seen her in gold. We've seen her in silver. And I love that ship has kind of moved into the meta. She's kind of taken Atago's place, but she's still a really good ship. All right, we're about 30 seconds here from dropping into Warrior's Path. Team composition has changed slightly. We are still Shokaku, North Carolina, double Amagi for both teams. Cruiser lineup for Impact remains Martel, Chapayev, Kutuzov. Now, what SF has done is they have swapped their Chapayev for a Martel. So they are Charles Martel, Kutuzov. And again, double Benson, Hirakazi for them. And Impact has remained with double Benson. So, slight change to cruiser lineups. Other than that, Impact running the same team, SF making a small change. Let's kill our bot here, and then we will get into the game. Ooh, game 3, winner take all. Somebody's going on and somebody's going home. God, this Erie is slow. I do not miss tier 1. All right. Quick look at early deployments here. Impact, like right now, heavily angling towards C. Looks like they're going to shove a North Carolina, Amagi, Kutuzov, Chapayev, and Benson into that BC gap. I expect some of those guys to go to B, and I expect some of them to go to C. We're sending Martel and Amagi to go play around north of A and harass whoever ends up over there for SF. Of course, SF, we know with their triple destroyer, will send 1 to each cap. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye out and figure out who goes where as the match develops. All right, so one of the Bensons already moving up into the bottom end of B for SF. Briefly spotted, we know he's in there. Capping, not contested right now. Looks like Impact has just declined to challenge that early on. I guess they feel like they don't have quite the firepower or the angles on him that they want. That B cap is tricky on Warrior's Path. That island in the middle really limits the angles you have. We see the Hirakazi pushing to C. Looks like Tiduson is kind of angling that way. I'm not sure if he's going to go full speed. We've seen him before take this tack. We saw a match a few weeks ago back when they won. In fact, we saw Impact win their first match of the season on this map back in week 3, I believe. But they have quite a bit of firepower pushing towards C as JCF and Publord look like they're going to set up on the northern end to B. SF picking up B early here. Did not see which Benson it was in B, but the other one is in A. Backed by a Martel, an Amagi, and a Kutuzov. So SF has got quite a bit of firepower on the bottom end of A. The Amagi and the Martel over there are going to have their hands full. Merrill's Hirakazi seems to have decided that nope. He is bailing south. Looks like they're just going to give C to Impact. Potentially not a bad idea. It looks as if SF is going to pick up A and B early, and they're going to let Impact have C, and then it's going to be up to Impact to just make a play and try and pick up a cap. Chuck Wiggles here, a little bit of damage early on, probably spotted as he turns out. Benson's likely got eyes on him. Looks like he's trying to find some island cover there. Amagi, see those shells in the center? He's got flanking shots here. Is that on JCF? Yes, they are. There they come. Decent hit there. Publord going to smoke him up. JCF looks like he's taking fire from that group south of A. Certainly from the Kutuzov and the Amagi there. All right, so Slap and possibly IA Dave pushing into the channel now, cutting to B. We've seen them do this before. We watched them do this back in week 3, and it worked out very well for them in the end. We're not sure if that Benson is still in there. They probably suspect that he is, but they haven't spotted him in a while. He may have moved. But Tiduson leaving smoke in that channel for his cruisers and aggressively pushing into B. If they're able to pin that Benson has no support to speak of. If he's still on the backside, on the south side of that island where he was last spotted, he's probably in a world of pain. 5 minutes into the game now, and SF has moved out to about a 90-point lead on the strength of their cap advantage. Impact now pushing B very aggressively here. Not yet dead, not really a factor. I mean, there's no way he can get shells on anybody in the B cap. Benson now spotted. There he is. He's over on the far edge of the B cap. Over in, looks like about F6. Yep, both ooh, Rhino and Sanders both in B. A little bit of a destroyer rumble here early on. Kutuzov and Chapayev hanging in the smoke over there, trying to get shots on these guys. Martel shots coming in from the north. Rhino under a lot of fire now as he not spotted. They've lost sighting on both of those guys. I wonder if they were radared a minute ago. I didn't pay attention to that. I apologize. Titusson now going to move out, try and get some spots on these guys. Swing out wide of that island. There's Rhino tucked up on the edge of the island. Where is Sanders? Still in there somewhere. Boy, I bet they wish they'd brought a Lo Yang right now. That Hydro would be invaluable. Publord kind of in a precarious position here. Possibly a bit of 2-on-1 if Sanders pops in front of him. But Slap now moving in. Slap and Dave moving in aggressively down this channel from the C-cap. Uh-oh, Slap going to take at least one torp there. Takes it up on the bow. Still moving in. Spotted by somebody. He's going to smoke as he moves into the cap. Taking some Kutuzov fire there, but again, that North Carolina not yet dead, not able to impact this battle from behind that island. They've got Rhino pinned on the backside of that island. He cannot leave, or he'll be spotted probably. So they're contesting B while they own C. Now, one of the interesting things, one of the impacts of this aggressive push is that they've left C completely open. I'm confident that Merrill's, wherever he is, we last spotted him way down on the H line, is going to push in and try and cap C behind these guys. The majority of Impact's firepower now is clustered into this little 2-square section on the northeastern edge of the B cap, while the two Bensons, SF's two Bensons, kind of cower on the backside of that island, really pinned there with nowhere to go. Not yet dead, trying to move up around, just poke around this island, make his 16-inch guns relevant to this fight. They haven't been so far. Chapayev radar now up as we see Sanders down out of the cap. Rhino about to leave the cap. They are going to cede B as, of course, yep, if you look there on the minimap, Merrill's and Darklore have moved up to cap C behind these guys. So Impact's aggressiveness is going to pay off. I think they're going to end up bagging B, but they really need to get a kill out of this. They can use the smoke effectively because there is no radar on SF's side of the map. Slap under a lot of fire here on about 5,000 HP. Titusson now smoking him. Some torpedoes coming in. Looks like Rhino's parting gift. Papito looks like he's going to take a couple of those on the bow. Yep. Well, in a moment, Impact will end up capping B, but it's going to return to being their only cap. They've shoved 6 ships now into that little square in the B cap. So they're going to get it, but they were unable to bag a destroyer kill that they desperately needed there. Slap on about 2,000 HP in that smoke. He cannot risk getting spotted, or he is going to be target numero uno. JCF now working around the northern end of this island to try and go challenge the Harakazi and the Amagi over in the C-cap. Yep. Oh man, a big double strike from Sanders' Torps bags, Papito and Slap in B. Goodness gracious. SF moves out to about a 400-point lead on the back of a quick double kill. Impact still not gaining points. They're still struggling to pull up and cap B. They're probably going to get it, but it's going to be pretty late. They're now 2 ships down. And there it is. Impact bags the B cap finally that cost them so dearly. JCF moving into the face of these torpedoes, Takes one on the bow. Getting shelled by the Hirakazi he cannot see. There he is. He pops up now. There's the second wave of torps. Don't know that he's going to be able to thread his way through there. He's got a gap. Let's see if he makes it. He will make it indeed. He's got that turn time very well. Trying to get some shells on that Hirakazi. As the torpedo drop by the CV does not succeed. SF moving up to almost a 500-point lead here with about 10 minutes to play. Boy, they need those shells to do something. Now, that's a decent hit on Merrill's, but not enough to kill him. Publord now rotating back to C with his Benson. As Dave's smoke expires in B, and he is under a tremendous amount of fire. He's going to be really pressured to get out of there. Probably the best he can do is snuggle up to the island and hope. Titus leaves some torps there for Not Yet Dead, who's kind of just been anchoring that corner. Dogmaster Zamagi turning south, getting into the fight here a bit. 500-point lead for SF now with 9 minutes to play. They desperately need a kill. Oh, but they get an... yep, Pieces of Pizza finishes off Dave in the B cap. His Chapayev going down as SF moves out to a 900, crossing the 900-point barrier here. Publord moving into C now, picking that, starting to turn that on behalf of Impact. But literally at this point, it doesn't matter unless Impact is able to contest A. They need to get ships into all caps, or all SF has to do is just sit there and wait for their 3 points every few seconds to roll them over 100. Either that or Impact needs to bag a cap. JCF looking like he's going to get really aggressive here on Darklore, but he can't trade. He needs the kill. He needs to kill Darklore and live. Nope, he's got shells going to Merrill's. Yep. Sanders moving back now into B to contest, spotted by Tiduson. Tiduson has a pretty good health advantage here. Maybe he can flex this and bag a kill that Impact desperately needs here. SF only 70 points from victory here on Warrior's Path. Nope. Sanders wisely smokes, and we lose sight of him. Of course, Impact's radar cruiser is long dead. SF still has not suffered a casualty here. That's one of their big strengths in this game. As they bag Publord, who bags the Amagi in exchange, but that's not a very good trade, honestly. SF's first casualty of the game. They still have a 3-ship advantage, but they desperately need to bag a kill. Got an Amagi and a Kutuzov at point-blank range over here today. Dogmaster trying to get shots on this Kutuzov. Going to eat some torps. Probably not enough to kill him. Come on, Amagi torpedo belt. Nope. Not enough. As SF moves to within a handful of points of victory here on Warrior's Path, they should be moving on. You know, Impact's going to lose this match, but it was fun to see them be aggressive. It's always fun to see teams be aggressive. It beats watching static, boring games all hollow. And watching them last game get aggressive late in the game when they needed to, move in and pick up that win to force a Game 3 was a lot of fun. It's a shame that it did not work out for them here, but congrats to SF's Kraken Jackers squad. So far, they have defended their title. They are moving on to the semifinals. Impact, guys, congratulations on your success in season 5, your first season in Supremacy. I had a blast casting you guys. I hope you had a blast playing. And we look forward to seeing you next season. You guys played well in the qualifiers, and you made a big splash in gold. Good luck next season, and we will see you then. In the meantime, I'm going to go silent for a few minutes here while I duck over to Discord, and we start to have a look at the brackets, see who's won, see who's lost, and try to rustle up a second match, since we don't really know who that's going to be just yet. So if you'll pardon me a moment, I'm going to put this back up. Let me make the appropriate gestures here. Give me a moment.